Joining me today in the studio to discuss the ongoing Palestinian prisoner strike is Dr. Mordechai Kedar, who served for 25 years in the IDF military intelligence and is an expert in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure.
All right, so let's begin. Who is Marwan Barghouti, and why has he developed such a strong following, among both Palestinians but also the international community?
Well, Marwan Barghouti is a well-spoken person. He is originally from Ramallah. Barghouti is a big family which lives only in Ramallah. And he was, for many years, a very prominent member of the local branch of the Fatah. Tanzim means the organization. And during the Second Intifada, he was in charge of at least 5 murders. One, by the way, is a Palestinian priest who looked like a rabbi. So he was murdered by people who were sent by Barghouti. So he had his day in court, and he was convicted, and he sits for 5 or 6 permanent or eternal prisons in addition to 40 years.
Now, what role has Barghouti been playing in Palestinian politics from prison?
Definitely. He is deeply involved. He can get visitors, Knesset members from all the at least left-wing parties visited him once in a while. He was sending messages. He was sending articles. He had a cell phone illegally in the prison. Now we know who might have brought it to him. The Knesset member Ratas, maybe he was the one who brought it to him. And he definitely, from his cell, was directing many things against Israel inside the Palestinian Authority. He was elected recently as one of the most prominent people in the Palestinian Authority.
So we're going to get to that about, his possible replacement as for Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. But let's talk a little bit about his role in this hunger strike that we're seeing right now. How successful have these types of hunger strikes been in the past?
Not so much. Because, first of all, look, they do demand things which some of them might be reasonable, like better food or better health care. Okay, I would say that this is reasonable. But having a PhD in the Hebrew University, this is what they demand, in the Hebrew, not in Palestinian University, like Birzeit or Najah, in the Hebrew U, or another Israeli university. This is something which I personally don't understand. Secondly, they want telephones. Illegally means public phones. Excuse me, show me another prison in the whole world which terrorists, not criminals, terrorists have direct access to call whoever they like, whenever they like, and to talk about whatever they like. Now, it does not work.
Now let's turn to the claims of torture and poor medical treatment for Palestinians in these jails. Is there substance to these claims?
I think not, because their way to court, especially the Supreme Court, is open permanently. And whenever they feel that something is wrong, they can appeal. And usually the Supreme Court, the verdicts which are being made by the Supreme Court are in their favor, if they are right. So they know exactly what to do if they want to have better food or better medical treatment. But the whole thing about the strike is totally different. Barghouti wants to position himself as the leader, not only inside the prisons, but all the Palestinian Authority.
Right, so tell us about how this...
He wants to actually challenge Mahmoud Abbas.
This is exactly what I was going to ask you.
He is the second generation, means he is younger than Abbas. Abbas is over 80. This man is 60, more or less, means one generation younger. Second thing, he is born in Ramallah, while Abbas is not born in Ramallah. Abbas was born in Tzfat, in the north. And many in the Judea and Samaria, the Arabs who live in Ramallah and in Nablus, in many other places in Judea and Samaria, consider him as illegitimate leader because he was not born here. He was born in the Galilee. And this is how they think. He's not one of us, while Barghouti is one of us.
So, Is there a chance that he could be the replacement for Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas? Is that something that we could see happening in the future?
If the Palestinian Authority survives the ousting or the death or the resignation of Mahmoud Abbas, Barghouti might be a man who might know how to tie the horses into one wagon. But his big problem is Hamas, because Hamas have already a state in Gaza for 10 years. In June, they will celebrate the 10th year of their establishing of their state in Gaza. And they will never give up on the statehood which they have in Gaza. So Barghouti, as influential as he is, even if Hamas terrorists join the strike, it doesn't mean that Hamas are willing to give up on the statehood which they already have in Gaza. So he can dream about being the Palestinian of all the Palestinians, still Hamas keep their independence from what happens in Ramallah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in,
My pleasure.
Doctor, and I guess we will just have to wait and see what happens.